where that thing belongs. This is why you get rid of that, because without that, which is still on her buggy, it's disconnected, I have to take it off. The only reason I haven't taken it off is because I have to take off her exhaust to take it off. So I just tie it up until I'm ready to take off that exhaust. That is called sway bar, anti-sway bar to be exact. These are called sway bar links. And what that sway bar link does is it keeps that articulation from happening. So notice how we have this control arm here, flat even across with the buggy. So with that sway bar on there, this is the way it works. With that sway bar on there, you wouldn't be able to do this. See how this arm here is flat, even across, and that one is angled down, it's got some movement. With that bar, it would keep that the same, but it would tilt this machine more, okay? So it would be, I don't know if I can do it, I don't want to knock it over, but it would be tilted over more. So with the weight of the rider and everything, this machine would actually level out. Plus, that jack is not giving full leverage like the tire would, so it's a little bit different, but this is the way to explain it. So the anti-roll bar and the stabilizer links there, with that together, you won't get that much movement. You won't get nowhere near that much movement. You'll get a little, but nowhere near that much. So what that creates like a bad ride. So like a stiffer ride, a harder ride. And that's because if this tire over here hits a bump, this one essentially gets it too, instead of this one keeping the machine level on the ground and letting that one dip down and back up. That would make it a softer ride. So disconnecting this sway bar will give you a softer ride. Now I know a lot of you are worried about your stability. So I have her shocks dialed in, but I want to show you. You see how that body rocks like that? So when you're in a turn, it's going to rock to the outside of the turn. And that could overturn you if you're not careful. However, you can dial in your shocks and play with them and get them set right. We're going to go over some adjustments here in a minute, which will it'll slow your body roll down instead of just letting it fling itself. That's what'll flip you in a high-speed turn. Before we get into the shocks, I want to play you a couple of clips. The clip I'm about to play you now is my 800 set pretty soft and no sway bar.
He's not going. You don't want to break his bike. You know what?
The next clip I'm about to play you is this, set to where I have it, and she stands her ground very well. Okay, you seen those two clips? I know they still look scary, you can see some body roll. But you got a few things you got to look at. You have to drive it and get used to it. You have to know your limitations. Just like any and all off-road vehicles, you got to know the limitations. I've been driving these for so long, I know the limitations of them. I've never rolled one or anything like that. I do donuts and everything else with the sway bars disconnected. So I want to show you a few adjustments that you can play with, and I'm going to give you a couple of base settings. So you have your knob up here and you have a clicker down here, are your compression and your rebound settings. I'm going to just go with layman's terms here, that way you guys know. This clicker here on the rear, turn it all the way counterclockwise, okay, till it stops. Then do 8 clicks clockwise. The front ones, do the same thing, but go with 6 clicks clockwise, okay? And you'll do that for the front and the rear, both sides. These down here, just set them in the middle, and that should give you a decent baseline setting to go off of. I have these dialed in to the way that I like them. They may not be dialed in to the way that you like them, but those settings there will get you darn close to what RedNeck has. Now, as for ground clearance, because you need to set these springs, and that differs between how much weight you carry and all that stuff. With the 28-inch tires, I have 13 inches of ground clearance back here and 13 inches of ground clearance up there. You adjust that with these, and like I said, I would measure this, but it's going to differ between how much weight you carry and how heavy your machine is, because this is a 500 trail I turned into an EX, but this is going to be how you set your stuff. So guys, that is pretty much an explanation of how that works and what you can expect. You can expect tons of body roll depending upon how your suspension's set up. Now, I will say, if we were riding slow terrain, I would set those clickers even softer yet. But we ride moderate terrain, about 20 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour tops. So we like it to be a little bit stiff. And that's pretty stiff enough. Plus, it allows for a good, comfortable ride with these stock shocks. Actually, these shocks, I have them dialed in to where they work very well, actually. Not as good as the Elkas from John Hester, Hester's Motorsports. But definitely, I got them dialed in pretty well. They do all right. Those of you who are wanting to do 2-inch lift. Now remember, higher you go, the higher your center of gravity is. But if you're doing a lift, you're probably doing slower riding anyway. So you only have to really worry about vehicle rollover at high speeds. Taking a sharp turn at 20-25 miles an hour, not really going to do nothing to you. Just know your limits, ride your vehicle, get used to it, and you'll have zero problems. And remember, don't try anything I do at home, because if you do, I ain't responsible. I'm just here to show you what I do. So if you get hurt, it's not on me, it's on you. Alright guys, I want to say a huge thank you to Current RV, www.cfmotousaparts.com, discount code capital RedNeck. Them guys are a huge sponsor of our channel, and they are going to help us do a ton of stuff. And we got some stuff coming next week. I know content is a little bit low this week, but that's because I'm very busy at work and at home getting ready for that meet. Come ride with us May 18th to the 22nd, which is next week, at Tecumseh Trails. Free camping. Admission is $20 per person per day. Hopefully we can see you there. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out. God bless.